And this is the Big 10 on ESPN. Championship game coming up in the women's side between the number 1 seed Terrapins of Maryland and Iowa, who had to pull off an upset to keep on going. Caitlin Clark, always exciting to watch for them. University of Maryland coming in. They are meeting for the second time in 3 years against Iowa in the championship game. A scare against Nebraska in the quarters, and then they blew out Northwestern yesterday. Iowa with the upset win over Rutgers, and a strong fourth quarter to get rid of Michigan State yesterday in the semifinals. And we welcome you to the Big Ten Championship. Pam Ward along with LaChina Robinson. Christy Winter-Scott will be joining us shortly. And this Big Ten tournament has been interesting. We've had some upsets and certainly some near upsets as well.
Yeah, what we've seen in the Big Ten tournament is really speaks volumes to how deep this conference is when the number 2, number 3, and number 4 seed get beat in the quarterfinals. But that brings us to the Maryland Terrapins, still alive, having played in this championship game every year that they've been in the league.
And one reason why they won it last year was they had the tournament MVP, then freshman Ashley Owusu.
Ashley Owusu is worth the price of admission. At 6 foot, there is not another player in college basketball that is as big, strong, nimble, and skilled as Owusu at the point guard position. She plays the game well beyond her years as a sophomore, and it is her killer mentality that leads this Maryland Terrapin team so dangerous in the month of March. And for Iowa, Caitlin Clark lives for the bright lights in the big stage. She is the kid that always got picked first at the playground because she is a winner. Clark will torch you from the three-point line where she leads the country and three-point field goals made. She has either scored or assisted on over 50% of Iowa's buckets this season. She has 11 30-point games. She's a big shot taker and a big shot maker.
Clark, just a freshman, second in the nation in both scoring and assists. Maryland and Iowa about to get underway. We'll be back with the tip after a short break. As you see, the players being introduced right now, just seconds away from tip-off, Maryland and Iowa. This is a huge day. An ESPN family of networks, not just this championship game, but so many more going on throughout the day. 17 tickets punched just today, as you see some big men's title games coming up later on ESPN. 12 men's and 5 women's bids have been or will be given out just on this day alone. And concentrating on this game, China Robinson, boy, these two teams, some fireworks might be in order.
Well, welcome to what we hope will be the greatest show on earth. We will see two teams that love to score the basketball. Maryland leading the country in scoring. Iowa second in putting points on the board, but they do it in 2 different ways. Iowa from the three-point line. Maryland very balanced. 6 players in double figures, and they like to push pace.
Yeah, the University of Maryland absolutely scoring about 91 points per game. They played last month, and oh, what a game that was. For more on that, let's go to Christy Winter-Scott.
That's right, Pam. What an amazing game that was. A combined 204 points between both teams in College Park, Maryland. Maryland won that game 111-93. Katie Benson for Maryland. She made 9 threes, which was a Maryland school record. And oh, by the way, she was 9 of 10 from beyond the arc. And for Iowa, Caitlin Clark was on fire in the first half. She also made 9 threes of her own in the game. She had 29 of her 34 points in the first half. And Iowa, any other day, would have probably won the game. They shot 56% from the floor, 52% from 3, scored 93 points on the road in conference play. But Maryland on the other side, 111 points, 61% from the floor, and 68% from 3.
Yeah, the numbers are just mind-boggling, Christy, when you think about it. And there's a good look at Caitlin Clark, Brenda Fries, the Iowa native, in her 19th season in charge at the University of Maryland. Had to do a lot of, fill in a lot of gaps this year, and she is ESPNW's National Coach of the Year. She and her staff doing a great job of replacing players who either graduated or transferred. Lisa Bluter from Marion, Iowa, in her 21st season, 792 wins, and trying to beat Maryland again for the second time in 3 years in the Big Ten championship final. Maryland, the #1 seed, wearing white, Iowa wearing black, and we are underway. Owusu with the ball in her hands. Diamond Miller and quickly Katie Benson, 9 of 10 in game 1. She's 1 for 1 today from 3. Take a look at the Iowa starters. Pretty much Coach Bluder has been going with this starting 5. Monica Sanano is dynamic underneath. The question has been all season long, who is the 3rd scorer to complement Clark and Cesano? It's going to be a different player in just about any game.
Key matchup on this end of the floor. Maryland's in their man-to-man. They will do some switching, but Diamond Miller will start off with defensive assignment on Caitlin Clark.
And Maryland out to the quick start. As you take a look at the Maryland starting lineup, Chloe Bibby, the transfer from Mississippi State. Katie Benson started her collegiate career at Harvard. And now Iowa gets its first points.
Yeah, Sanano does a great job of using her body, getting position. Maryland is going to front her to try to discourage that pass, but she did a good job of keeping the possession alive in the paint.
And Mimi Collins, a transfer from Tennessee, who's a native of Maryland, able to get the put back. And that is one of the concerns for Coach Bluder, is to keep Maryland off of the offensive glass.
Well, you have to, because they can put bodies on the glass. They're quick and aggressive in getting there. And they already score enough in the open court. You don't need to give them any offensive rebounds and putbacks.
And this is one of the big differences, is Bibby hits from 3. Chloe Bibby, a totally different player than the fours that Maryland has had, the power forward. She can really stretch the floor.
This is the most mobile lineup that I've ever seen Maryland play with in terms of the versatility that they have at the 4 and 5 spot. And there she is, Caitlin Clark. No hesitation on pulling the 3. You have to get a step or 2 behind the line to guard her. This is a great skip pass here. Because of the concern about the post game, defense will often sag, and Bibby does not get out there in time, and Clark could not wait for this championship game today.
Yeah, she was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, also on the first team All Big Ten club. Did not shoot the ball very well in the Michigan State semi yesterday, and she said after the game that she was saving it for today, so we'll see how she does. Chloe Bibby 2 for 2 from outside.
You gotta love Bibby's game. And you see how quickly, Pam, that Maryland gets the ball down the floor. All 5 players are always asking for the basketball at all times. It's a fantastic offense to watch.
Maryland's hit 5 of their 6 shots. 4 different players have scored. They're going to get Collins for going over the back of Sanano.
Well, quickly in transition here, off of the defense, Maryland gets down the floor. Benson keeping her head up right in the middle of the floor there. And defense, no communication, and they don't get back quickly enough. You have to sprint to meet the Terps on their offensive end.
Clark missing from outside. Rebound taken down by Diamond Miller, who is part of a terrific sophomore class for the Terps. 3 for 3. Bibby, nope, she missed that one, but Collins kept it alive. It is off of the foot of an Iowa Hawkeye, so Maryland hangs on.
And it's really important that Bibby is hitting 3s early in this game, because Iowa loves to play a zone. And if they have more than one shooter, we know Benson is a threat, but if they have multiple 3-point threats on the floor, it's going to be really tough for Iowa to guard.
And then Diamond Miller showing some of that athleticism to get her first bucket. She is 10th in the ACC in scoring, and as you mentioned in the open, Maryland has 6 players who average in double figures. She's one of them. Sanano popping outside to get her second bucket. She did not miss a shot against Maryland when they played in the regular season. And another example of a quick Maryland shot rolls off the rim for Owusu.
Well, that Sanano bucket came off of Clark's penetration. When she gets into the middle of the floor, she sees it so well. But another turnover here by Iowa.
Yeah, good job by Maryland. Part of their keys were to put pressure on the freshman Clark, but they could not take advantage. Caitlin Clark's not going to let anything bother her. She's got a swagger and reminds many of us in a way of Diana Taurasi. Not saying certainly in the basketball side, not yet, but she sort of has that confidence, always going to take a shot. And look at the numbers for this true freshman.
She has no conscience. I mean, even when she's not open, she's open, because she feels like any bucket, anytime you give her the ball, she can score it. And she's proven to be very effective and at an efficient level. That's what really stands out to me. She's not just putting up a ton of shots and shooting it at a low percentage from the field.
Yeah, Christy Winter-Scott with more on Clark.
Well, when Caitlin Clark was in high school, Lisa Bluter said that her coach was telling her, hey, we need a bucket, go score for us, and she was doing it all. And you see glimpses of that now as a freshman for Iowa. Yes, she leads the Big Ten in assist and scoring, but she was on her own trying to get some shots going. Sometimes if she missed 2 or 3, she would get her shoulder down into the defense and try to score right away. But Lisa Bluter said that she has really evolved in terms of letting the game come to her instead of going to get the game every single time.
Christy, you're absolutely right. There's a maturity that comes with that for a lot of great high school players. Getting to college, realizing that you've got other great players around you, but she still has that scorer's mentality and wants to make every play. A freshman that's still learning.
That's a big 3 from Gabby Marshall. Had a terrific quarterfinal, career-high 27 against Rutgers, including 7 threes, as you see. And it gets Iowa to within 7. We saw some of that frustration with Clark in the semi yesterday in their win against Michigan State. And Coach Brewer said sometimes she actually has to call her over and calm her down a little bit.
A little feisty.
Like, that's going to tick her off that she missed that shot, but she's got Sonano in there to clean it up.
Been a few possessions where Ashley Owusu has gotten looks in the paint and has not been able to finish those shots, buckets that she would normally make.
Meanwhile, Sonano is 11 of 11 from the floor against Maryland in the 2 games she's played thus far, and it's all over. Miller was able to slip the defense.
Diamond Miller is so dynamic. I mean, to watch the jump she has made from freshman to sophomore year is just incredible. And I think the biggest area of growth has been in her level of intensity on both ends of the floor.
And she is a player who can get fired up. Coach Freeze says that she wouldn't be surprised if her name and number are up in the rafters at the Xfinity Center as her career goes on. Chloe Bibby with 8 points. Maryland 7 up on Iowa in the Big Ten title game. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by SoFi, get your money right, and by Geico. You could save even more by bundling home and car insurance. Welcome to Indianapolis, Maryland, the top seed in the Big Ten, out to a 19-12 lead. Here are some of LaChina's keys for them.
Well, for Maryland, number 1 is finding Caitlin Clark in transition. Make her life miserable today. She's played 3 games in 3 days. Make it hard for her to catch it, to get into any kind of rhythm, shift and change how you're playing her defensively. And then defensive rebounds for Maryland, obviously, which gets them off and running into their transition offense.
Yeah, Clark so far is just 1 of 4. And the foul by Diamond Miller before we went to break sends Kate Martin to the line.
And Iowa's keys to the game, limiting their turnovers, not feeding that Maryland offense. We've already seen some miscues from the Hawkeyes. They need to clean that up. And then it's not just about them stopping Maryland's transition game. It's the dribble penetration. They have to be able to guard Maryland off of the bounce and keep them out of the paint off the dribble.
Also have to keep them off the offensive glass. Bibby able to keep the possession alive again. Ball goes out of bounds but stays with the Terrapins with 12 seconds left to go. Good point you made. Iowa did have to play 1 more game, so this is their 4th game in 4 days. Maryland, their 3rd game in 3 days, and because they won comfortably against Northwestern yesterday, their starters got a lot of rest.
Yeah, Brenda Freeze was able to go down the roster and play some minutes for her 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th player on the roster to rest her starters.
And Ashley Owusu got into foul trouble in the first half, so she sat for quite a while, and during that time, Maryland actually lengthened its lead against Northwestern. So she got extra rest because of the foul trouble, and then with the lead growing. Clark now with the ball in her hand. Shot clock is dying. She's going to shoot it. And she banks in the 3. Iowa on a 9-2 run to close the game to 3 after Clark's desperation 3 found the bottom of the net.
You shoot the 3 as well as Iowa does, you are always in the ball game and can close a gap very quickly.
A terrific three-point shooting team. Faith Masonius, number 13, is checked in from Maryland. But the Aussie, Chloe Bibby, is red hot in the first quarter. She's got
really
11.
good ball movement there by Maryland. And what's the key is when Ashley Owusu is in the middle of the floor, when she touches it in the paint on a post up at the high post, the ball starts to rotate around her. Excellent pass there by Clark. But that is a big key against that Iowa zone is when Owusu's in the middle of the floor, the ball moves.
Sonano now is 4 of 4 from the floor. Owusu, floater. She's been off on her shot, but Maryland able to get the follow. That was Angel Reese with the bucket, a very highly touted recruit coming out of Baltimore, who went down just 4 games into the season with a broken foot. Benson with the miss. Bibby chases it down.
Off of an offensive rebound, the one thing you have to know is where Katie Benson is, because she is quietly spotting up on the three-point line.
Maryland now 5 of 9 from distance. And just like that, they get the lead back to 9 points. Underneath, 3 Maryland jerseys. Benson picks it up, maybe the smallest player on the floor. Gets it to Owusu. Second time, still no good. 3 for Owusu, finally. It falls. And for Ashley, her first points of the game after she missed her first 7 shots. Maryland up 11, timeout in Indy. For Maryland, Chloe Bibby has 11 points. And Sonano still has not missed a shot against the University of Maryland this season.
As soon as we cross this line, I bet you Sonano's asking for the basketball. I mean, she is. If she was down in the block area, immediately you see that hand go up. I mean, she finds a way, finds an angle, finds a position to get an advantage on her defender. And that's 25 in black.
Yes, she is. And she was backing up Megan Gustafson, who torched Maryland. Clark, oh, that's a charge. Clark charges into Benson, who drew it.
Owusu had the primary assignment. Yeah, looks about right. Benson got there, established herself as a legal defender. As long as you get your shoulders squared and you're facing the ball handler, you are legal and available to take a charge. And she got there before Benson even thought about, before Clark even thought about leaving the floor for that shot.
Masonius, that's a tricky pass, but Chloe Bibby able to gather it. Shot clock off now for Caitlin Clark, the freshman. Clark zips it across court, shot off in time, but it doesn't fall for Gabby Marshall. Maryland finishes that quarter on a 7-0 run, their 11-point advantage, their largest of the game so far. Chloe Bibby doing major damage for the Terps. Champ Week rolls on with 3 more title games on the men's side tonight. Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship game, Oklahoma State, Texas at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. Follow that with the New York Life ACC Championship game, Georgia Tech, Florida State. And cap it all off in Las Vegas with the Pac-12 Championship game, Oregon State, Colorado. That's presented by New York Life, all tonight on ESPN and the app.
Looking at the Pac-12, thinking about you and I calling their championship game about a week ago, Pam, and coming off of that performance by Stanford, they were the #1 team in my AP poll. I mean, they look really good. They've got depth. They check all the boxes. Defensively, they're stout. Offensively, so balanced, even maybe more balanced than we thought coming into the Pac-12 tournament. Tara Vanderveer's just had a fantastic season.
Caitlin Clark firing one from way downtown. That's her third three of the game, and Charlie Cream agrees with you. He has leapfrogged them in his bracketology as a #1 overall seed. Mimi Collins did not get a whole lot of playing time at Tennessee, only averaged about 15 minutes a game, and she's been a great addition for Maryland. Dan Ward with China Robinson, and Christy Winter-Scott joining you from Indy.
And the way that Charlie leapfrogged Stanford to the top after that championship showing, that's called the eye test. That's good use of the eye test. Watching the team, and yes, the numbers are a part of it, but this year more than any, you got to be able to look at a team and know if they are Final Four caliber, if they should be in the field of 64. I mean, if you know basketball, you know a great team when you see one, and Maryland's one of them.
And you see Maryland right now projected as the #2 seed, and I think any of these 8 teams can win the championship. Some people think Maryland should be a 1 seed. Let's go back down to Christy Winter-Scott.
That's right. I think Maryland has a great chance to be a #1 seed, especially if they come out with a championship here today. And if you look at the net top 25 opponents that UConn has had, the victories and the margin of victory has been only a +5 points per game. But for Maryland, their net top 25 points per game differential is 14. And they had a dominating win over Arkansas earlier. And if you remember, Arkansas beat UConn. So it's very intriguing to see how the process will continue when it comes to selecting teams.
Yeah, that's great number crunching, Christy. You're absolutely right. I mean, and one thing that I think continues to be part of the criteria, and it's important, is your strength of schedule. Now, I know coaches didn't have total control of the non-conference, but if you beat good teams, you should be rewarded. And Iowa's got a 14 strength of schedule. Maryland's played a challenging schedule. I mean, those things need to, I believe, be held in higher regard than maybe they are at this point. And to Christy's point, UConn's strength of schedule is 44.
44 as opposed to 14 for Iowa, as you mentioned. And Maryland starting to pour it on a little bit. That was Faith Masonius who knocked down her first shot. So the biggest lead of the game now, 14 for the Terrapins. And Diamond Miller closing out quickly, but then a really good adjustment by Kate Martin, one of the tough players that Coach Bluter told us that she broke her nose in a game against Illinois earlier this year. Mimi Collins answers with the three. Can't get a story in. It's too much scoring. They're just knocking them down with China.
You are in trouble. If Mimi Collins is pulling up from 3, it's going to be a long night, and comfortable with it too. Terps up.
Exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by USAA Insurance, auto, renters, and home insurance. It's a beautiful day in Indianapolis. Big Ten Women's Championship. Maryland up 15. Biggest lead of the game so far. Trying to punch ticket. And here's some of the tickets punch you already mentioned. Stanford with a convincing win over UCLA. Some of the other teams getting in with automatic bids, including, well, there's a 3 knocked down from the outside by Marshall. Congratulations to Central Michigan. Gail Gestencourt is the associate head coach for the Chips as they won. And of course the Marist Red Foxes. We would be remiss if we didn't mention them because our producer, Chris Damiani went there.
Gotta love this time of year, particularly because we were robbed of our complete March Madness last year, and so you're just excited to see that a lot of these tournaments, in particular on the women's side, are getting off without any major COVID issues, and that these teams have an opportunity to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament.
Marshall called for the foul. Owusu gets tied up. Ashley Owusu only has 2 points, 1 of 8 from the floor.
Yeah, Iowa's done a nice job of taking away the space of Ashley Owusu, just really not allowing her. Now, she is a physical player, and that's a great defensive play there by Gabby Marshall, but you just sense that Owusu's a little bit off in terms of her touch, and she's always got a body there when she's looking to score today. So good job by Iowa.
That is the first shot that Sedano has missed against Maryland all year, but the rare offensive rebound and the putback for the Hawkeyes. Warnock able to get in there and clean it up.
And it's just important for Iowa to score in general so that they could get back and get their defense set. How many transition threes have we seen? How many opportunities have we seen from Maryland where Iowa hasn't gotten back in scoring position. And here come the Hawkeyes.
Monica Sonano now with 10 points, back-to-back buckets, and the lead has been trimmed to 8.
If no one else is down the floor, Monica Sonano will be down the floor, finding her position in the paint. One of the best finishers in the country. And that's a perfect pass, a perfect lob pass as she's being fronted by the defender there. And those soft hands for the catch and the layup.
7-0 Iowa run. Monica Sonano on the season coming into this game 67.5%, 68% from the floor for the season.
Well, she's just had a fantastic tournament. She's averaging 24 points per game in this tournament, 7 rebounds. I mean, she is so dependable in the middle for Iowa. And they don't have a ton of players that they can put back to the basket or in the paint at all and get those easy scores the way Sonano can.
Got her 1,000th career point against Rutgers. Diamond Miller misses. Christy Winter-Scott has some more.
Yes, you were talking about Monica Sonano and how she was named first team all Big Ten Conference this season. Well, her freshman year, she sat behind one Megan Gustafson, who scored 45 points in the championship game here against Maryland just 2 years ago. But she has evolved last year, a second team all Big Ten Conference member. But this year, she has really put that leadership cap on for Iowa, and she has just reveled in that role. She put in the time, got her body in better condition so she can stay on the floor a little bit longer. And like you said, Pam, 67% from the floor. She's been leading the country in that statistic all season.
And Christy, when we talked to Lisa Bluter about her, I've never heard Lisa use this word or anything like it. She said that Monica's shot was jacked when she first got there. And that assistant coach Jensen worked with her on her shot, on her form, and now she's one of the most efficient players in the country. It's just impressive to see the evolution, but also the patience and waiting for her opportunity to shine.
Oh, no question. I mean, she put in the work, and that's the difference maker. I mean, she has tremendous footwork, and you see a lot of similarities between what Megan Gustafson did and what she's doing in terms of establishing herself early in the paint and already being in a drop step on the catch. So it's a simple catch and shoot when she gets a nice pass inside.
Sonano getting a much-deserved rest. Sharon Goodman, what a good game yesterday against Michigan State. When Sonano got into a little bit of foul trouble, just committed the foul that has sent Alasia Stiles to the line, a grad transfer from Cal. It's a good look at Goodman. She played 12 minutes, had 6 points, 4 rebounds, and a block in that tough win against Michigan State. That's Coach Jansen in the gold jacket there for Iowa, the assistant coach that helped get Sonano's shot on track. And we asked Coach Bluter earlier this year if she thought that Monica would be this good. She said, heavens no. There's Coach Jansen, who's been who's been here now in her 21st year with Iowa.
And it takes great assistance. You put in the work with players night in and night out, especially that second unit. You know, your head coach is so focused on your starters. When you've got a Megan Gustafson, I mean, so you've got to have assistants that day in and day out can look down the road to your team and see a player like Sonano playing a big role and put the time in to develop her.
Yeah, it's Jan Jensen. Jan Jensen is the assistant coach. Jan, in her 21st year, actually was coaching with Coach Bluter at Drake when Lisa was the assistant there, and just doing a terrific job with this Iowa program. Meanwhile, the delay continues in Indianapolis.
Coach Jensen was also the lead recruiter on Caitlin Clark, keeping tabs on her in that process.
And went to a lot of her games and it's successful. She is from Des Moines, Iowa, West Des Moines to be more specific. Coach Bluter says it's about an hour and a half away from Iowa City. Comes from a basketball playing family. That just would not go down. Another rebound. Angel Reese gets it. Now Benson playing the point with Owusu on the bench. Another offensive board. Diamond Miller tied up by Goodman, who picks up her second.
Well, the way that Iowa was able to chip into this lead is because they weren't giving away as many offensive rebounds. They had cut down on that number for Maryland in a few possessions and were able to get down the floor and get some scores. But that has got to be a consistent message for Lisa Bluter and her team, is keeping Maryland off of the glass. And one of the challenges is Iowa likes to play zone, and it's tough when you don't have a specific player you're boxing out to get to the body.
As soon as the 64-team field is announced Monday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, sign up to play Women's Tournament Challenge on ESPN.com. Fill out your bracket for a chance to win $10,000 in Amazon gift cards. Go to ESPN.com/TCWomen. Ivan Miller hit both free throws. Maryland with 19 second chance points. That was one of the things that Iowa wanted to keep to a minimum, and it's not worked out. Good play there by Miller to strip Sonano. Another thing about Maryland, we talked about Owusu not hitting her shot, and still they have 42 points. Benson comes in and is very capable with running the show. Defense, Sonano. That's Angel Reese, the freshman, capping off that 6-0 Maryland run.
I don't know how Reese found an angle to get that up. It looked like she was behind the backboard.
Terrific athlete. Again, broke her foot 4 games in. It was 3 months, and not just game time, but practice time. A lot of things going on for the freshman, and she's just working her way back. Shot clock winding down. And there's steps taken by Taiwo.
Iowa lost her footing there. Caitlin Clark not in the game. Iowa struggling to find a little bit of offense, but look at Reese. I mean, she's behind the basket when she takes off of that. She had to find an angle, but I've enjoyed watching her play. I mean, I know she's only been back for a few games, but you see why she was so highly recruited by all the major programs across the country, just naturally talented. And of course, she gets it from her mama. That's part of it.
Yeah, Christy knows Angel Webb Reese very well, her mom.
Absolutely, Pam. I played against Angel Webb at the time when she was a student athlete at UMBC, and that was way back in the day, and I get it, but it's just so much fun to see Angel, her namesake, playing in her jersey number 10. And her brother is also going to attend Maryland next year as a freshman for the Terps, and his number will also be 10.
As well it should. Julian on his way to College Park to play, and Angel Webb is in, I should say, the UMBC Hall of Fame. She was a very good player for them, very good rebounder. The UMBC Retrievers, in honor of the Chesapeake Bay Retriever, the state dog of Maryland.
Boy, that was a really good defensive possession for the Maryland Terrapins. I mean, they guarded the entire half court, got to a skip pass, got to a closeout. Just tremendous footwork and togetherness on that possession.
There's Angel Reese. A lot of scouting services and recruiting services had her as number 2 in the country behind Paige Beckers in the last recruiting class. There's Angel's mom on the right. Rebound taken down by Warnock, who is actually the leading rebounder on this team.
Iowa needs to get a good possession. It's all about patience and ball movement, or it's all about just get the ball to Monica Sonano. I mean, she is putting in work.
Stiles fouled her, and so Sonano heads to the free throw line. 69% free throw shooter on the season. You see her number, 6 of 8 from the floor.
And Iowa's got to figure out how they can get her touches. You know, she's got to touch the ball early in the possession, even if she's not even positioned to score. Get the defense to collapse. And even though Maryland did have a very good defensive possession a few possessions ago, you still got to keep that same ball movement if you're Iowa. And don't be afraid to penetrate and kick, and just keep that motion offense flowing.
Reese working against Sonano, gives it up, and nice over the head there by Masonius.
So unselfish. That is what Brenda Freeze said is the key to this high-scoring offense, this beautiful basketball that Maryland plays, is how unselfish they are and how they love to see each other play well and do well.
Well, knocked away by Collins, recovered by Reese. Here comes Benson. Playing with the Owusu. What a pass to Masonius by Ashley Owusu. Talking right on cue there, Luciana. You talk about how they share the ball. Nice passing. And there was another example of it.
Well, everyone on the floor is a scoring threat. And here Reese catches it, the low block, and the easy pass for the finish. And that was beautiful, too. Good find and good cut. And then Benson, open floor. Wow. Touch pass to Owusu. That's sharing the ball at its finest.
Iowa with 6 turnovers just in this quarter. You see the latest Maryland run is 12-3. Reese going right at Sedano.
Gets her own rebound. I mean, that definitely could not happen. She got her own rebound.
Her foot was on the baseline, so the ball goes back over to Iowa. Angel Reese only played 9 regular season games and still was named Big 10 All-Freshman. Fouls Tanano. Coming up on the Audi halftime report, Rebecca, Andy, and Kelsey Riggs will talk about the team to avoid in the NCAA tournament and more on Charlie Collier, the Texas phenom who has declared for the WNBA draft. She, some people have her projected as #1, and Dallas has the first pick. She's a Houston native.
Texas, just a few moments ago, was putting up a good fight against Baylor. Not sure where that game is now, but the Big 12 championship will be tomorrow. What a season the Baylor Lady Bears have had. And Kim Mulkey doing it once again, best defensive team in the nation.
As usual, they are absolutely dominating in the Big 12. We've got 14 points for Sedano. Owusu taking it to Taiwo and drawing the foul.
Actually, that is just really what makes Ashley Owusu special. Is she's a bully with the basketball. She catches it here. And with her strength, it is so hard to keep 2 shoulders square and in front of her. And the defender is not in legal position. You may be asking, why doesn't she get the charge call here? She's not between Ashley and the bucket with her shoulders squared to the ball handler. So you can't pick up a charge in that situation if you're not legal.
Yeah, excuse me, that was Alexis Civilian with the foul. Owusu, 7 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, just 3 of 11 from the floor, contributing in other ways. And another foul. Alicia Griner, Gina Cross, Mark Sentz, our officials this afternoon.
Let's go, y'all. Hey, watch inbounder. We got to see inbounder, y'all. Iowa basketball.
It's interesting, Coach Freeze with Diamond Miller and Angel Reese over there. Miller picking up her second, so she's sitting down. Masoni is stealing the inbound.
One thing that Coach Freeze did tell us is that Diamond Miller is fiery, very competitive, emotional. You see her talking constantly on the floor to her teammates. I just love how she has grown as a leader on this roster.
Collins did not rattle home. And now here's Caitlin Clark. Clark, 9 points so far, and she draws the foul. Caitlin does a good job of getting to the line, on average over 6 times per game. Frustrating afternoon so far for the Hawkeyes.
And Clark is not going to blow you away with her speed. I mean, she is not the fastest player or the most athletic, but she is usually the smartest in their matchups. Her basketball IQ is through the roof. And as a freshman, she has already learned her teammates so well, so understands where to get them the ball, how to get it to them, and has really started to settle into this system, this offensive system, according to Lisa Bluter.
And that's another good point as she gets into double figures, is they do have a system, and Coach Bluder talks about how it takes, especially the freshmen coming in, Clark is one of them, to get comfortable in it. And a lot was put on Clark's shoulders stepping in, replacing Kathleen Doyle, who graduated last year. Owusu with the shot clock into single digits.
Iowa in the zone.
Yeah, boy, Sonano came a long way to get her. Benson with the floater that goes in. Now Caitlin Clark gets it to Sonano, who hits it right before the buzzer. But the University of Maryland has never trailed in this game, is led by as many as 20, and they will take an 18-point cushion into the locker room. Sonano with 16 points to lead Iowa. Bibby, the only Terrapin in double figures, has 11. Maryland shooting 49. This is the Big Ten Women's Basketball Championship, the trophy they are playing for. And right now, Maryland with a comfortable 55-37 lead over Iowa at the half. Christy Winters-Scott caught up with Maryland head coach Brenda Fries.
Coach, 16 assists on 21 made shots in the first half. What have you liked most about what you're doing on the offensive end?
Yeah, just what you mentioned, sharing the basketball, making easy plays for one another, playing really, really hard on both ends of the floor.
And defensively, what kinds of adjustments, especially on the interior against Monica Sonano, do you want to see in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to find a way to stop the law firm. The CNC law firm is really hurting us. So, they're both great players. I mean, phenomenal teams. So, our team defense has got to, tighten up.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
With 55 points in the first half, Maryland really put on an offensive display. You could tell they were ready for the three-point line, knowing that Iowa was going to play a lot of zone defense. Good ball movement. They got threes in transition, 6 for 13 from the three-point line. And then it was their offensive rebounding. They are 8th in the nation in offensive rebound percentage. And 41% of their misses do they corral. And they had 19 second chance points in that first half. And I got that stat from her hoop stats, by the way, Pam.
Yeah, thank you to them. And Maryland with their highest scoring first half since February the 23rd. And that was when they played Iowa. And they put up a lot more points than that. Was it 62 at the half? Something silly like that. Anyway, Maryland with the lead. You see every Maryland player that has played has scored. And the Terps with the lead. And Christy Winters-Scott is on the court for us.
Well, guys, for Iowa, yes, they're down right now, but Lisa Bluder does such a tremendous job of inspiring and motivating her team. After every practice and every shoot-around, she sits them in a circle, crisscross applesauce all the way around. And today's quote for the team was, "If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it." She even had them lay on the ground today and visualize the confetti, and they wanted to feel what it would be like when the championship could be won today. So still a lot of basketball in front of them, and it's all mental. The mental toughness piece far supersedes the fatigue of playing 4 games in 4 days.
Yeah, she talked about how important adrenaline is, right, LaChina?
Yeah, she did, and I'll tell you, Lisa Bluder and actually Beth Burns, when she was at San Diego State, are the 2 coaches that I noticed early when I started doing this broadcasting. They do the visualization. It's important. It's just like stretching. It's just like getting extra free throws. Like, they want their players to see themselves having success, and they literally work on the mental aspect of the game every day.
Mimi Collins just hit her second 3 of the game. She's only had 10 all season, but then the response from Clark.
And there will be a response from Iowa. This is a tough team. To Christy's point, they have played 3 games in 3 days. This is now their 4th, so you wonder about their legs, but they have the fight and the three-point line to get back in this.
Sonano picks up her second personal foul. There's Caitlin Clark. She and Sonano both in double figures in the first half. One of the problems for Iowa, not problems, but one of their goals this year was to find the third player other than those two who would score. Nobody really stood out in the first half for them. As far
Good
as that,
defense
picking
there
up some of that slack.
by Iowa, forcing the turnover.
And Bibby takes it right back. Bibby has 11 points, all of them in the first quarter. Unselfish Owusu finds Chloe Bibby.
Positionless basketball. That is the real description of this Maryland offense when a player like Bibby can pass the way she does. Great cut and score for Iowa. You see how fast this is moving, Pam? This is the scoring that we thought we would see coming into this game.
And again, Maryland beating them back in February. They scored 68 points in the first half, 55 today. So the two highest scoring halves against Iowa this year, both coming courtesy of the Terps. Iowa can score two. Caitlin Clark all the way. Clark now with 15, cuts the lead to 16. Owusu just a little bit of space. Her shot's been off the last couple of games.
But you would give her that shot, right? You're more concerned about her off of the drive. So Marshall goes under that screen. You give that shot to Owusu, but you don't give it to Caitlin Clark, and definitely not in transition where she's starting to feel it. Iowa coming out of the locker room at half behind the freshman Caitlin Clark on the step back. Let's go.
This exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Geico. You could save even more by bundling home and car insurance. Iowa, Maryland Big Ten Championship. Caitlin Clark heating up early in the third quarter.
Caitlin Clark has got her fire going here in the third. She's a competitor. You knew she was going to come out of the locker room ready to go. 10 points in the first half, 7 in the second half. If she gets a shorter defender on her like a Benson, she is going to look to score over the top, and we saw that in that last score for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, 7 points in the first 2 minutes of the third quarter. There's a tie-up, possession arrow in favor of Maryland. Caitlin Clark again, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, unanimous first-team selection, 21 20-point games and 11 30-point games this season.
Maryland picking up in some pressure. We've seen them do this already in this game. They have a 1-2-2. They'll pick up in some full-court man just to kind of give Clark something to think about, changing up their defenses.
Misfires on that three. Mimi Collins coming up with a rebound. Quickly gets it over to Benson, who's been on the ball a lot this game. Owusu posting up. Oh, my.
Did you see
Mimi
the
Collins is all of a sudden a three-point threat.
Did you see the form on that catch and shoot, though? I mean, both Collins and Bibby have an incredibly high release. Beautiful.
Collins' third three of the game. Again, she only had 10 in her first 25 games. Martin missed, but an offensive rebound does not go in, but good work by Warnock to earn the free throws.
And that was a really good pass by Clark as well to get the ball moving. But, I mean, this is a cross-court pass, and you think you can kind of close out with a high hand, but not with a sense of urgency. Not today for Mimi Collins.
Mimi is 6'3", redshirt sophomore, redshirted after starting her career at Tennessee. Owusu just picking up her second foul for Maryland.
Well, Collins has been in double figures her last 6 games, so that confidence has been building. And she is one of those players that we discussed earlier, just more of a hybrid player, has multiple skill sets, even though she's a big. I mean, stepping out like that at 6'3", come on, Pam.
Bibby, long three. Another rebound for Sonano. Inside, trying to get it to Yeah, to Sonano. Good job by Bibby.
Yeah, they set a little screen for Clark, and I like the misdirection. She gives the ball up, and they set a little screen for her to catch it on the pop out, and she was asking for the basketball at the top of the key. Nothing new.
Yeah, Clark, I think, always wants the basketball.
Good denial there by Benson.
They need a shot. Rebound is chased down by Katie Benson, the transfer from Harvard. Lyman Miller, a little bit off the mark. Warnock collects another board.
And I like what Maryland has done with Caitlin Clark. I mean, they put size on her to give some length. She's 6 foot tall, but they put a smaller Benson on her that can really get into her and deny her. I mean, that's another way to keep her on balance.
Let's go down to the court and Christy Winter-Scott.
Yes, Pam and LaChina, there have been so many different pieces to the puzzle that is this Maryland roster. After graduating 4 players last year and then losing a handful of players to transfer, they went and attacked the recruiting in the transfer portal, and they have 4 transfers in: Alasia Stiles, Mimi Collins, Katie Benson, and Chloe Bibby. The last 3 were just on the court together for a stretch. And when you have different faces, but you have people on the same page mentally, great things happen, and that's what Maryland has seen with their transfers.
Lyman Miller here, Christy, showing that she's turned it up as well, even with the new additions on this team. Just a strong take. Gets the contact, finishes going left, and there's that emotion we mentioned earlier. But to Christy's point, you know, if anyone can sell a program over Zoom, it's Brenda Freeze. And she gets buy-in from her players, not only the ones that are a part of her program, but that's what makes her one of the best recruiters. And she didn't really know maybe what all these pieces were going to look like together, but what a team she's assembled and how quickly they've come together with their chemistry and their trust.
And that's one reason why she was ESPNW's National Coach of the Year. Miller with another rebound, losing so many because they had people transfer out at the University of Maryland. Mimi Collins hits another one, but blending in all the new pieces with the people they had coming back, talent like Miller and Owusu, and they're now 20 points ahead. Good 3 for Gabby Marshall.
Yeah, much needed. And you can see how Iowa is starting to look a little tired in their legs. Not as much movement as we would normally see on their motion offense. And how about Diamond Miller the last 3 possessions? Wow.
Brenda Freeze said Diamond Miller is a star, and she showed us that on her last couple of trips down the floor.
But not just the score, the pass as well. Like, she is so dynamic. And with her length, she's able to get to the bucket. Look, she's going to take it up the floor and initiate the offense.
A little bit too strong for Collins, but Diamond Miller and the Terrapins are rolling.
6'3", Diamond Miller with the handles in the spin on the finish off of the glass. You better get that bag, Diamond.
Takes center stage. But this year, history shares the stage with something greater. Justice. United, we ball.
And what a season it has been. Boy, Mimi Collins coming into this game. LaChina, she's a 3-point threat. You mentioned that she's on this great streak of double-figure games. But again, Maryland has 6 players who average double-figure scoring throughout the season.
Well, and when you're shooting the ball this well from 3, it's like, who do you guard? Especially when your best 3-point shooters on the afternoon have been the players that essentially start at the 4 and 5 spot.
Yeah, that's a great point. Not what you would typically think. And there's a nice bucket by Kate Martin. Maryland's made their last 3 shots, trying to win this tournament for the 2nd time, or the 2nd year in a row, I should say. And for the 5th time since they joined this conference in the 2014-2015 season. And they abandoned the ACC.
That possession was saved by Faith Lasonis. That is the player that Christy Winter-Scott told us before we came into this game today, that she brings the toughness, she gets the extra possessions, she does the dirty work and the little things, and that was exactly what we saw in that possession.
A good job to keep that ball from hitting Coach Freeze, who's wearing sparkly sneakers this afternoon, by the way.
Very, very stylish.
Here's Diamond Miller. Oh boy, Angel Reese all alone, and she blew it. Miller being unselfish.
Miller's getting all the defensive attention right now. That's the thing. I mean, her teammates will be open because the way she played in that last stretch before the break, the defense is very aware of where number 1 in white is.
Reese picking up her second foul.
I got 25. Who got here? I got it.
Sonano coming back in for Iowa, leading them with 16 points this afternoon.
But Sonano hasn't been as involved. That was a question that Christy Winter-Scott had asked Coach Brenda Freeze about, and she hasn't gotten as many looks or opportunities as I would think in this third quarter, considering how well she played in the first half.
There's a little baseline jumper that she buries.
Right on cue with the eye cut off of the lane. Good touch for Sonano.
Champ Week rolls on with 3 more title games today. Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship games is all men's action at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, followed by the New York Life ACC Championship, Georgia Tech, Florida State. And then cap it off. We'll take you out west to Las Vegas for the Pac-12 Championship game, Oregon State and the Buffaloes of Colorado. That's presented by New York Life. All 3 games on the app and on ESPN. Taiwo's foul, sending Angel Reese to the free throw line. Hey, she's left-handed.
Oh, look at you. You're usually on me about picking out Team Lefty.
I'm shocked that that you didn't mention it right away.
Well, sometimes, Pam, I got to leave you a little bit of room to acknowledge left-handers since you think I overdo it.
And she tucks her pigtails, her ponytails, into her jersey. That's interesting look for Angel Reese, but it worked. She's awesome.
We see what your role is today on the game. Benzin doing what Benzin does.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, Katie Benzin. Now 4 Terps in double figures as Benzin joins with her 3rd 3 of the afternoon. As we hit 2 minutes to go, trying to get it in, baby. Good anticipation to take it away. They were looking for Sonano. And that's kicked by Caitlin Clark.
Boy, Benzin is so quick in getting down the floor. Teams sometimes pick on her because she's usually the smallest player in the lineup for Maryland. They'll try to post her up and, you know, work their offense when Maryland has to come and help her in the post. But she does such a nice job of not only running the team when she needs to play the point guard spot, but she's quick.
Oh, that's a tough shot. Asona's able to hit it over Clark.
Can Iowa get a paint touch in some way, either off of the dribble to Sonano? They haven't been able to utilize the three-point line, and credit Maryland. I mean, they would like to get off more threes than they have in this game, and they have done a nice job in stretches, but without paint touches, it's tough to pry the defense off of the three-point line.
Iowa just 7 of 20 from three-point range. That is 35%, not bad, but Maryland's defense keeping the ball away from the always dangerous Monica Sonano, again leading the country. 68% from the floor coming in. Benzin coming off a screen, but a good recovery. Sona's really posting up hard. Bibby left open on the double team, and Lasona's found her.
Did you see that Collins wanted to let that fly, though? I mean, she kind of feels she's feeling it. She wanted to let that go from three-point land and made the right decision.
Maryland's 22-point advantage, their biggest of the game. And there you see Bibby. The size advantage over Gabby Marshall out there is substantial.
But still able to contain defensively. I mean, most of the time, a smaller guard is going to try to drive by a big. So when you talk about the versatility of this Maryland lineup, it's not just on offense where they can spread the floor, but defensively they do a nice job as well.
Bibby somehow was able to recover after she initially fumbled the pass. 9-0 Maryland run.
It has been all Terps, inside out, touches, sharing the ball, and how about Bibby? The interior game, she's hit a couple outside shots. Boy, this team is so fun to watch. Everyone involved.
Faith Massona's playing really well.
What a job Brenda Freeze has done and the adversity that she has faced this season, both personally and professionally. A lot happening, yet still prevailing even in this COVID season. I mean, and every team has had their challenges, but I think that Brenda Freeze did her work in the offseason, as Christy Winter-Scott mentioned earlier, getting everyone on the same page and getting players to join their program.
Caitlin Clark guarded by Miller, takes her right to the bucket. And a blocking foul has been called on Maryland.
Benson has been trying to put her body in position to take charges this entire game and doesn't quite get there. I actually thought that foul was on Diamond Miller with the body prior to Benson rotating over.
It was called on Benson, the second on her, and sends Caitlin Clark to the line. Clark averaging just under 27 points per game, second in the nation to Anastasia Hayes at Middle Tennessee State. Not bad for the freshman. Owusu, Bibby! A little bit too long, but boy, Maryland, 4 players in double figures. Bibby and the Terps take a big lead into the fourth quarter.
Bill and Donna Freeze, and Bill on the right side, he had a birthday, his 89th birthday back on January 22nd, and Brenda Freeze took to social media and put their home address on and wanted him to get 89 cards for his birthday, and he received more than 300 birthday cards and still growing. And she said, to see my dad on FaceTime laughing and telling stories was amazing. Every birthday with our parents is a gift, but this one felt extra special thanks to everyone who reached out to him. He was so touched, and he is battling prostate cancer, and he is, like I said, 89 years old, but she was recently named Coach of the Year by ESPN, and they broke the news, and her parents were sitting right in front of her. Her mom said, "We are so proud of you," and she said that her dad, Bill, just opened up his eyes really wide in amazement and smiled and gave her a big hug.
That's incredible. You know, if you know anything about Brenda Freeze, you know what her parents mean to her. And in particular, I remember her telling these stories about her early influences in basketball, and it was her dad. It was her and her dad, the free throw competition at the Elks Club, just a big part of who she is. And you know, my family's from the DMV, and they don't know a ton about basketball, I'll be the first to admit, but I got a text from my sister who said, "Can you please tell Coach Freeze that we're praying for her family? I heard about her dad." And just speaks volumes for their relationship, what people know about Brenda and how close she is to her family and how much her dad means to her.
Well, she also has her family here. Her husband, Mark, is here. Marcus and Tyler, her two twin 13-year-old boys, are not here with her, but she also has her brother, Jeff, and her sisters, Deb, Cindy, Marcia, and Stacy. They've been here all week, and family is so important. 6 siblings. Can you imagine 6 siblings? And they were at every single game, and Brenda Free said they were just such a sacrificial couple. They were at all the sporting events. All of them played sports, but they were right there. And presence means more than presence, if you know what I mean.
It's a great basketball family. You mentioned Stacy Freeze, and she was a tremendous talent at Iowa State. The family's from the Cedar Rapids, Iowa area. Bibby has hit a couple of buckets here. And certainly our best wishes and thoughts go out to Bill and Donna. And boy, they've seen a lot of good basketball this weekend in Indianapolis.
They have. They've seen a lot of success at the hands of their daughter. I mean, Brenda Freeze has done a fantastic job at Maryland. The dominance of the Terps in the Big Ten is just wow, especially when you look at the depth of this league. And for Maryland to emerge, I mean, this team you're watching today, this is a #1 seed, in my opinion. I mean, even the last
was
few
an
games.
amazing play. Faith Masonis kept it alive, and then they got it down the floor. Maryland's biggest lead now. And LaShina, that's a great conversation I think a lot of people are going to have tomorrow night, or sorry, 2 nights from now, Selection Monday. Maryland right now is a #2 seed, but it's hard for me, when we've seen a lot of basketball, I don't think there are 3 teams better than them or 4 teams better than them right now or playing better than them right now.
And that's the key, is how are you playing right now? You know, what is your team doing down the stretch run of the season? I mean, I know that Nebraska really challenged Maryland. You have to give credit to Nebraska and how they pushed them. But, I mean, you see the balance and the confidence in this team on both ends of the floor. There's a conversation that needs to be had for sure.
Actually, Owusu with the finish. Owusu with 12 on the afternoon. And you see Charlie Cream. Stanford is the #1 overall. UConn #2. They just steamrolled. It's like different conference, same story for Connecticut. They owned the American Conference. Now they're back in the Big East, and they breezed through that this year. Gabby Marshall from the outside. And check that. That was Warnock, pardon me. That was a ponytail obscuring a number. It was number 14, not number 24, Warnock. Clark misses. That won't make her happy.
I really love Warnock's game. You know, there are only a few players in the country, 8, according to her hoop stats, that have 40 made three-pointers and 190 rebounds. And Warnock leading this Iowa team in rebounds, but she does it coming from the three-point line in a lot of situations. You know how hard that is? I mean, a lot of teams that lead their team in rebounding do it right underneath the basket as the post player. She's stretching the floor offensively and making it to the glass as well.
Clark gets the miss. Yeah, Warnock earlier this year, Coach Bluter just called her their X factor. Wanted to get some more consistency from her. Sonano draws the foul. Collins got her. There is McKenna Warnock, a sophomore from Marshall, Wisconsin.
And that's often the challenge when you're playing this Maryland team is, you know, obviously Iowa has Clark and Sonano, and they've got Warnock. I mean, they've got a lot of pieces that can contribute, but Maryland has so much scoring depth. I mean, they've got 6 players averaging double figures. So how many players on your roster are you going to need to score additional points to be able to match what the Terps bring?
And again, they're the only Division I school that has 6 players averaging in double figures. All of their starters, and then Angel Reese, the freshman off the bench, who had been starting until she hurt her foot in the 4th game of the year, missed 14 games. Maryland rolling. Benson with that last bucket. 5 Terps in double figures today. Champ Week rolling on. We have 3 games coming your way on ESPN men's games. The Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship, then at 8:30 the New York Life ACC Championship, and then cap your evening off with the Pac-12 Championship game tonight. That's presented by New York Life. All 3 games on ESPN And the some upsets there in the Pac-12. You have the 3 and the 5 seed, Colorado and Oregon State, respectively, playing.
Well, and I have to say this, Pam, fade away there by Miller. Your heart goes out to the men's teams that have been knocked out of their conference tournaments due to COVID testing. You know, when we were talking about not having conference tournament, I was not in favor of that. If it was health and safety, absolutely. But these student athletes want their chance to get their ticket punched and to go to the NCAA tournament. And it's been a tough year. And March is what a lot of them are looking forward to, whether that's a conference tournament or an NCAA championship. So to have that taken away from these teams at this point who may have been able to strengthen their NCAA tournament resume or may have been able to win their tournament as an underdog and get to the field of 64, it's really unfortunate to see.
Yeah, the ACC men's tournament rocked with both Duke and Virginia having some positive COVID tests. Styles coming in, the grad transfer from Cal. Styles went to Cal, Benson went to Harvard, now playing for Maryland. I would imagine the team GPA has taken a little bit of a boost.
What? And that's coming from a Maryland Terrapin?
Yes, it is.
Christy may have something to say about that.
Yeah, those are some schools.
But Pam, the other conversation to have as Clark gets to score there is the transfers. I mean, look at even the top teams right now in women's basketball and how impactful transfers have been. You and I talked about this when we had Texas A&M. I mean, what is that team without transfers?
Maryland, less than 5 minutes away from another Big Ten championship. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by SoFi, get your money right, and by USAA Insurance, autos, renters, and home insurance. Pam Ward, LaJonna Robinson, and Christy Winters-Scott joining you this afternoon. Maryland trying to add another X to this graphic. They have dominated. They've only been in the Big Ten, the last 6 years coming into this one, and boy, they have been all over the titles.
Yeah, they have been just so dominant, part of every championship. The regular season titles, the Big Ten tournaments, I mean, they have really owned. And one thing you talk about, here's the scoring margin as well, margin of victory for Maryland in the championship game, excuse me. So that's the largest margin of victory in a championship game. Maryland clearly is going to hurdle that. But one thing to consider, when Brenda Freeze, when Maryland left the ACC and comes to the Big Ten, everything is different, right? You think you had all the styles of play and you knew where your hotel was. And, obviously Brenda had a little bit of that because she had been in Minnesota. But to just learn these teams so quickly and the coaches that were now in the Big Ten and to be able to just really dominate the way they have, it has been impressive. I mean, it's not easy to come into a conference and have that kind of success.
Clark with the assist with the nice finish by Martin. And then even more specifically this season, a lot of new players coming in, losing some key players. Shakir Austin, who's just gone down to Ole Miss and has been a major factor there. Taylor Mikesell goes to Oregon, and they bring in Benson as an even better three-point shooter. And just incorporating them, and Coach Freeze has talked about the chemistry on this team. Nice look inside the Styles.
You see the frustration setting in for Iowa, but what they have done, winning 3 games in 3 days and how they have done it. I mean, this is going to be a dangerous team in the NCAA tournament. The way they scored, their toughness, ran out of gas a little bit here, not to take anything away from Maryland, but this is a Hawkeyes team that's going to be a lot of trouble if you run into them in the NCAA tournament.
Another bucket for Martin, and I think that's a great point. Beating Maryland is tough enough, but trying to beat them after you've already played 3 straight days of basketball is just a Herculean task for anybody. And Iowa not nearly as deep as Maryland.
In less than 24-hour turnaround.
Right.
That's what Lisa Bluter was talking to us about today. Less than 24 hours on the turnaround, so there was a lot of ice tubs and short shoot-arounds, trying to do everything they can to keep players fresh. But you could tell, I mean, even Clark, and her ability to get open. I mean, she usually fights to get the basketball, but this is a lot of minutes being played by this team over the last 4 days.
And Charlie Cream, our bracketologist, says that the Hawkeyes will not be hurt in his estimation. They moved into a top 20 overall and a number 5 seed. And Maryland's number 2 seed is secure. Win or lose, certainly they're going to win it. And again, we keep repeating it, but they should be in consideration for a 1 seed. Zoe Young coming off the bench. Her teammates are thrilled. Young does not get a lot of playing time from Maryland, and she hits that shot. And there you see Charlie's projections.
You want to get into the box score in the championship game, right? You want to be able to frame that and have it somewhere in the house.
Maryland has 5
hers.
Oh yeah, she's got a lot of stuff. Maryland has 5 100-point games this season. And Angel Reese going to go to the free throw line to try to make it 6. Monday, the exclusive live announcement of the 64-team NCAA Women's Championship field again is on ESPN. We'll break down every team and every matchup in every region. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the app, and then bonus coverage at 8 Eastern and the app on ESPNU. We will be glued to our electronic devices to see what's going to go on. All of the tournament will be played in Texas. Maryland now with its 6th 100-point game of the season, 2 of them against Iowa.
And Angel Reese may be the layer that really changes things for Maryland in the NCAA tournament. You know, now this is her 8th game played in this stretch, coming back from her injury. 6'3", really powerful, big body, gives Maryland yet another sub in case there's foul trouble or something happens. I mean, she's an extremely talented player. Totally changes the trajectory, in my opinion, for Maryland if she continues to grow and contribute over the next few weeks for this Terps team.
Had her first career double-double yesterday in a semifinal win over Northwestern. 6.6 rebounds, a couple of assists for the Terps today. Number 10 in white, you see her there. Now Iowa's starting to clear their bench.
Goodman at the line, 1 shot.
Goodman at the free throw line. And you see most of the starters now getting on their shooting shirts, and they'll be interested to see Monday who they will be playing. We know where everybody pretty much is going to go, the greater San Antonio area. Austin's going to have some games, San Marcos, but all down in that neck of the woods. And of course, ESPN will have every game available for you. A foul and count it.
Right here in transition is Sanders, Zion Sanders into the game, and you hope that Styles is okay as she went down. She is still not up.
Megan Rogers, the veteran athletic trainer for Maryland, over there to take a look. So she's just shaken up a little bit.
Yeah, this is a good sign for Maryland. Styles is coming off of one of her strongest performances of the season, has really started to blend with this team, had 15 points against Northwestern. That was her first double-figure game of the season.
Zion Sanders at the free throw line just hit her 2nd field goal of the season. This is only her 6th game. This is her first free throw attempt. She's perfect.
Came in and got into the box score. Nice strong move to the rim, got fouled and got the free throw.
A minute to go. And Maryland calls a timeout. numbers as you...
And 22 second chance points, 21 points off of the bench. Wow, dominant performance. 29 assists for Maryland. How fun is this team to watch?
29 assists on 39 made baskets. Iowa's hit 7 of its last 7 field goals, by the way, but not nearly enough time. Zoe Bibby came out of the gate, had 11 points in the first quarter. Second straight game that Ashley Owusu didn't have kind of an Ashley Owusu kind of game, but still they're going to win convincingly for the second straight game.
That's what's scary. I mean, they took Northwestern out of their game without Owusu. They're going to beat Iowa handily here with Owusu not having her best outing. She was dishing the basketball, but just not the numbers we're used to seeing from her. And yet, the Terps look great.
Certainly hitting their stride, and Styles back in the game. I think that's probably why Coach Freeze called the timeout, to get Styles back into the game. Good to see after she was shaken up on a play that sent Sanders to the line. But Maryland going to win the championship for the second straight season, 5th time overall. I don't know if you could hear that. Somebody said Angel set a screen.
Yes, that's accountability. That's accountability. That's the other thing. I don't know if I've seen a team this season that talks as much as this Maryland team. I mean, they talk the entire time on both ends of the floor. That's the mark of a great team.
Maryland never trailed in this game. 5 Terps in double figures, led by Chloe Bibby with 21, smiling under the mask. And Maryland and Brenda Freeze count that bucket at the buzzer. But the Terrapins are your Big Ten champions yet again, winning 104-84 over Iowa as the confetti rains down in Indianapolis. A convincing win for Maryland and a very emotional Brenda Freeze. Again, her parents in the stands, including her dad, Bill, who's been in a fight against prostate cancer, and the tears for the head coach of the Big Ten champions.
When you hit adversity, you have a choice. You have options. You can quit or you can fight. And Brenda Freeze made a decision last year with a lot of roster turnover to fight. And that's all this team has done this year. They've found the best version of themselves, I believe, in the way they're playing right now. And just what a great scene for Brenda Freeze with her parents looking on at this incredible Maryland team that is scary headed into Selection Monday.
And remember, Maryland was not picked to win the Big Ten this year. And they've done it. A regular season title, and now the tournament title for the Terps.
One thing that Maryland has done well all season, Pam, is run the floor in transition and score in the open court. And it's just tough to stop. You get your defense back, but when they spread it, when they've got their 4 and 5 players shooting it lights out from the three-point line, when they're sharing the ball, when they're unselfish, I mean, when they have a team that just will do anything it takes on both ends of the floor, I mean, this is a scary team. And especially if you can't put those kind of numbers up on the offensive end.
Christy Winter-Scott is standing by with Brenda Freeze.
Coach, a lot of emotion for you today, I know. Your mom is here with your dad, Donna and Bill. We'll hang in there with you. But a very special moment, and you are allowed.
What a win, Christy. What a win. I mean, when you talk about this team, what they've done all season long, just how they played in this tournament, they continue to keep showing how unselfish they are. I mean, this is going to be one that obviously I remember for a lifetime.
And with this being said, 6 regular season titles, now 5 Big Ten tournament titles, and it's special in many ways for you, but with this being a COVID year and missing out on the NCAA tournament last year, what will you remember about this season for these student athletes who have sacrificed being tested every day and working so hard for this goal?
Right, just the journey, right? I mean, they came in unproven. We're still unproven, you know, but we're excited about what lies ahead. But the resiliency by these student athletes, I mean, going through COVID, all of the unknowns, and all they did was trust us. They trusted us as a staff. They trusted each other. And you see that with their play. They play the right way. They're so unselfish, and they're for the next person next to them. So I'm just extremely grateful.
Well, you learned from the best with Donna and Bill as your leaders. Thank you for your time and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Chrissy.
Maryland with a record 20-point win, taking the Big Ten championship for Chrissy Winters-Scott and LaChina Robinson. I'm Pam Ward as we say so long from Indianapolis. Time now for the MAC Men's Championship, Iona and Fairfield.